going on, Jerome's beautiful Saturday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So, of course, taking on the low-energy Detroit Lions. Lions fans so sensitive. All right. And I know that this is one of those trap bait things, but it's okay. Hey, let them enjoy their success, but Vikings are definitely going to humble the Lions on Sunday and take over dominance of the NFC, because that's how we do. Not just NFC North, but the NFC writ large. That's right, man. Injury report for Sunday's game came out on Friday. Cashman outside. How about that? Caleb Evans both out with a turf toe and a hip, respectively, is what it is, right? Cashman probably going to miss the Rams game as well, but ideally getting him back to good is going to be key for the stretch run. So good against the run, so good as a leader wearing that green dot, but Pace and Kamu, and probably there will be a little bit of Tellus with Metellus, as well as AVG playing some off ball as well, so should be good to go. Questionable, Hawkinson, who's still on the PUP list, Patrick Jones second, and Harrison Phillips both have shoulders, but both participated fully in practice on Friday, so should be good to go. Dalton Reisner still on IR, doesn't for return. So if Hawkinson or Reisner do go on Sunday, they would have to make a roster move today. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Aaron Jones, 2 limited practices in a row, but they feel pretty confident in him. So, and the reports are that he likely will play on Sunday. I think he's going to go out there. I feel like there's a little bit of gamesmanship with the injury report. Trying to be cagey in the Lions, like, oh, do we prepare for Aaron Jones or Ty Chandler and Cam Akers? I don't know, but I think that Aaron Jones is going to be out there, and he's certainly going to be good to go. Also, where we could use some improvement. So the right guard spot, Ed Ingram, I don't know, it's been year 3, was not good as a rookie, improved slightly in year 2, is very solid as a run blocker, got to give him credit, but pass protection, not so much. And what's interesting is that his draft profile coming out of LSU is that he was a great pass protector and needed to add a little bit of attitude in the run game. And so it's been a complete inversion of what's been going on. Darren Dugan-Wolfson caught up with Ed in the locker room yesterday. As we wonder if we'll eventually see a change of the guard. Changing of the guard. Come on, Doogie. Vikings right guard Ed Ingram told me Monday, quote, "I feel like I've been playing pretty well. Dalton Reisner back, feeling great, ready to contribute, but doesn't have right guard game experience. Does have playing right tackle experience from Kansas State. Actually, back from Kansas State, he played center. He played center his true freshman year, played some right tackle, played both guard spots, so he does have experience there. Also, he does have preseason experience at various spots as well, but did play only left guard for the Broncos during his rookie contract and only left guard last year for the Vikings. But there's a reason why they're getting Reisner right guard snaps during training camp before he injured his back, is that they want to have a contingency plan for Ed Ingram, and Ed can think what he wants about his play so far. It just hasn't been great. So in terms of out of 78 qualifying guards, he's at the bottom of the list in terms of PFF pass blocking grade. And I know the PFF isn't the be-all, end-all, but just eyeball tests, it's been an issue. And it's not so much one-on-one spots, it's miscommunications, it's misdiagnoses of pressures, stunts and games going on there. And defensive coordinators know to target him with their best interior pass rusher, and that's what they've been doing. 17 pressures, 3 sacks allowed, just not been good. And Dalton Reisner, this is from Purple Persuasion. According to Alec Lewis, who's on KFan 9 to noon with Paul Allen, he would not be absolutely surprised if Vikings Dalton Reisner is activated and plays right guard on Sunday. Quote, "I'll tell you that I would not be absolutely surprised if Dalton Reisner is at right guard on Sunday. I have enough to where I think it is possible." Now, Kevin O'Connell definitely hedged his bets a little bit as Friday presser. He didn't commit to Ed Ingram. He didn't commit to Dalton Reisner coming back. He said it's something that the coaching staff and the medical staff would talk about, but I think it's unlikely that Reisner would be activated and then just started. I think that if they do activate Reisner, he would come back as a reserve to start, but also if Ingram struggled during the beginning part of the Lions game, it wouldn't shock me if Reisner is subbed in. Like, I don't think that they would just put him out there, but I guess we'll see what happens. Either way, yeah, it's always lip service of getting the best 5 out there. Get the best 5 out there. Speaking of the best, Brian freaking Flores is the best, man. PFF NFL podcast, the highest passing grade the Vikings have allowed to an opposing quarterback is 67.8. And this is from Carmen Vitale, fantastic NFC North media person. He has put every quarterback he has faced this year in a blender. And that's exactly what happens. I mean, and also the Vikings have faced some pretty damn good quarterbacks, and also Daniel Jones. And Purdy did get into a groove in the second half of that game, leading them on a 99-yard touchdown drive. But Purdy was rattled throughout most of the game. And, after the game, saying, Flores, your scheme is insane, right? So even though, box score-wise, Purdy completed, over 3/4 of his passes, 319 yards, 100-plus quarterback rating. He did not have a good day. Also, he was sacked 6 times. Plus, you got to factor in the crowd noise because the Vikings have only had 2 true home games, the Week 2 against the Niners and Week 3 against the Texans. The Vikings have had 10 total sacks those 2 games. Could be some yum time, even though the Lions' offensive line is one of the best in the game. But you look through, like Stroud had his worst game of the season. Daniel Jones, who's actually played pretty decently. He did not play pretty decently week 1. Jordan Love, in the second half, put up those 4 touchdowns, whatever. But, and also Aaron Rodgers had one of his worst games, and was it only 4 or 5 games that he's thrown 3 interceptions? Happens, man. But, yeah, PFF passing grade, maybe not so much. And everyone except for Purdy also turned in a very poor quarterback rating. So, and also, it stands out that every single game, they've gotten at least 1 pick off of the quarterbacks. And if you take out Purdy, it's multiple picks. So it's great to see there. And hopefully we'll be putting Jared Goff on the turf. And hopefully he won't be like, well, he completed 18 of 18 passes. Congratulations. Good job, man. Also, congratulations. Good job. So Zadarius Smith, currently of the Cleveland Browns. Remember Zadarius? He was good for half a season, 2022, and then he got dinged up, and it is what it is. Vikes fan page, former Vikings outside linebacker Zadarius Smith on potentially getting traded to the Lions. Quote, if I was to go to Detroit, I would like it. You like that? Because I would get to play Green Bay twice a year and the Vikings twice a year, so yeah, that'll be big. Well, first off, one of those games will be down since the Vikings are playing the Lions on Sunday. Secondly, it's not like you're going to be there next year. Yeah, but the Lions potentially looking to add edge rushing help with Aiden Hutchinson on IR. And all the talk about Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. Zadarius could make some sense, right? But I don't know, like Zadarius, I don't know. He's much better to stand up outside linebacker than a hand in the dirt 4-3 defensive end. But, he still has some juice. Still got respect for Zadarius, but obviously he had an issue with the Vikings. He was one and done. You literally signed that contract, man, and then you got pissed off about it because you outperformed it. Should have thought about that. Anyways, also the odds for the Vikings to win the NFC are at plus 550, so 5.5 to 1. Shut up and take my money. Shorter odds are the Niners at plus 300. Even though San Francisco's had a rough couple of games, they're banking on maybe McCaffrey comes back, but San Francisco has that talent. They just hit a rough patch, and they're a very good football team. Lions plus 370. I feel like those are short just because everyone wants to get their money in on the Lions. Yeah, Eagles plus 750. How? Like, what have the Eagles shown you in the last couple of weeks where you believe in them at all? Like, you think that they can clang and bang with anyone? Don't get it. Like, frankly, I would take a shot on Washington. I would take a shot on the Commies way more than the Eagles. Green Bay plus 850. Carolina's plus 50,000. So 500 to 1. If you were offered 10,000 to 1 on anything, you take it. So John Mellencamp wins the Oscar. I will be a very rich man. And that's actually not a bad bet, because what if John Cougar Mellencamp did like a movie soundtrack? Like 3-6 Mafia has an Oscar for the Hustle and Flow soundtrack. So Kevin Malone might be onto something, man. Whoever laid those odds is an idiot. Anyways, also speaking of idiots, Lions or Vikings, so Fox Sports put this out. Who has the better wide receiver duo? Amon St. Brown and Jameson Williams, or Justin friggin' Jefferson and Jordan Addison? Now, obviously, I'm a little biased here, right? And as we said, Amon St. Brown, respect. He is probably the best slot receiver in the game right now, only in the slot, right? First team All-Pro last year, put up the numbers. Respect there. Jameson Williams, like, You know him from fantasy. Like, he can be streaky. Like, he can be non-existent in a game, or he can bust off a 75-yard touchdown. Like, there really is no in-between, right? So he is definitely a hot and cold type player, but when he's hot, he's hot. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the game and the best wide receiver of this generation, future first ballot Hall of Famer. That's no muss, no fuss. And here's what's great, too. Like, even the haters and losers will admit that. That's how you know that you're great. Like, Packers, Lions, Bears fans, yeah, they'll talk ish about Jefferson, but they will respect the greatness. That's how good he is, right? And Addison, when he's on the field, he's really damn good. But frankly, Jefferson's greatness is so much that you could pair Jefferson up with the hot dog vendor, or like the pretzel guy from the stadium, and you would have the best wide receiver duo in the league. It's exactly what's happening, man. So respect to Monra. Jameson's coming around, but taking JJ and Addison. Hell, I would take JJ and Speedy Naylor as well. 3 games, 3 touchdowns. Hopefully he gets involved more. Lastly, so Good Morning Football, they're discussing this. So it's technically football. But mayo on grilled cheese, we in or we out? Now, it felt like they didn't understand the premise, especially Rap Sheet, because when you put mayonnaise on a grilled cheese, it's not to add mayonnaise flavor. It's to brown the outside. And a lot of people put butter or margarine. I'm not a big fan of margarine, or like, we get a whole thing about like super processed oils. Like, generally we use butter or ghee or beef tallow or avocado oil or olive oil, but it's beside the point. But I understand why people do it. And also, hey, if you go to a restaurant, like a nice soup and sandwich lunch place, right? And they have this amazing grilled cheese. Dirty little secret. A lot of times the outside is going to be brown either with mayo, or they'll have that stupid half olive oil, half canola oil mix, that comes in like the giant 5-gallon drums they get from Cisco. And that's how they do it. And then they'll melt the cheese in a broiler. So it's not like how you make grilled cheese at home. But the mayonnaise on the outside instead of butter, it makes a ton of sense. Now, the best thing about the grilled cheese is that like nice butter outside flavor. You can put that in the end, like, once you get that thing toasted up. But the thing about it is, like, a lot of people do burn their grilled cheese, and the reason being is that, well, number one, they cook on too high of a temperature, medium high for life, because it allows some of the water to evaporate. Also, it crisps through at the lower temperature versus just heating up, and potentially burning. Plus, if you want that melt of the cheese, if you're not going to melt it separately, it's whatever. Anyways, but the smoke point for butter is very low. It's about 300 degrees. So that's why you see a lot of burnt grilled cheese sandwiches, right? Because those milk solids don't evaporate, and then all of a sudden you're burning things, right? But generally, like, processed, like store-bought mayonnaise is made with canola oil, or it's like grapeseed oil, or sunflower oil is like pretty common nowadays, and that has a smoke point of 400. So you got a lot more leeway there. But like we said, the beef tallow oil, or if you get avocado oil mayo, it's a much higher smoke point. So you're going to get a much more beautiful golden brown there. So I understand why they're disgusted, because maybe they're not mayo people, but you don't even taste the mayo. All right, literally, if you did a grilled cheese with mayo or grilled cheese with butter on the outside, I bet you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Except the mayo one, well, chances are will be less burnt, and also the toastiness will be more even and golden brown. So, because you do have that leeway with the smoke point. But again, I understand why they could be grossed out, because maybe they don't like mayo, maybe they're not Will Levis, maybe whatever. But yes to the mayo on the outside of the grilled cheese. That is it. I don't know what we accomplished, but it feels kind of good. Anyways, your thoughts are our thoughts of Vikings news done for this beautiful Saturday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.